What up? I'm B and welcome to my channel. I hope you are having a great Thursday today and you are ready to get into a pretty complex, deep topic. There's a lot of details in here, so we'll wait a few minutes, let people have a chance to get in here, get caught up, and then after a few minutes, because I don't want to have to repeat myself too much, then we'll go ahead and really get started and get into it. So if you are in here hanging out, say hello, say what's up. I can't wait to go over this whole situation with you because it's a lot. So yeah, we talked a little bit about the situation at the end of last week's stream, and at that point there was so much that I needed to learn about the situation. I had just like a tiny sliver of info, and over the weekend I watched no less than 15 hours of content related to this, so there's a lot to go over. South of Grace is in here, hi, and so is Jade2323, you're ready, yay. Oscar's in here, hi Oscar. Alright, so we're gonna just give it a few minutes, let people get in here, let the notifications go out, all that stuff, just so that way there's not going to be a ton of repeating, because I know with last week people came in a little bit too late to understand the whole context of the situation, so we're just going to wait. Hi Adultish, I'm glad you were able to make it. So we'll just go ahead and wait. I hope you guys are having a good day today. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. Oh, hi Liz, I'm glad that you are in here and you got to catch this live. So, before we even get into it, I do want to put kind of two disclaimers out there. This is a super complex situation. There are so many different details, but a lot of conversation and a lot of evidence coming from a particular side of this conversation has to do with offensive jokes and dark jokes, crude humor, stuff like that. And I will say that I'm not here to police anyone's humor. This is a part of the arguments, but I think when it comes to what the actual issue is that we're going to be talking about, I don't think there's a right opinion on it. You know, some people have very dark senses of humor. They enjoy very dark jokes, and that's just how they are. Some people would say, oh, these aren't jokes. This is really offensive stuff, and it's not okay. But I think everyone's opinion is valid in regards to dark jokes. If you don't like them, you don't like them. But like I said, I'm not going to police anybody's sense of humor. I wouldn't make jokes like the ones I've seen on this side, but I enjoy Last Podcast on the Left, which is literally a podcast about serial killers, and it's a comedy podcast that talks about them, you know? So I just wanted to say that. And then additionally, all of this information is how I perceive it and how I understand it. It's hard to kind of verify different documents that I've seen, different videos that I've seen, different credibility of people. 1000%, this is not to be rude, but when you see things coming from smaller channels, they have less of they have less of an incentive to be 100% honest. If a bigger channel made a blatant lie, people would be looking into it and calling it out. So when you're looking at stuff from smaller channels, it's a little bit harder to discern what exactly is fact, what's not, stuff like that. So those are just some brief disclaimers that I am putting out there. But then when we hit 5 minutes, we'll get into it. All right. Hi, May. I'm glad you are in here, and I'm glad you're excited about the topic. It's a lot. Hi, Druggy Vibes. Hi, Natasha. That's okay if you can't stay very long. It's going to be processed and re-uploaded. Hi, Emmy. And one last thing. The format of how this is going to be is basically public perception, broad stroke, details of what's happening, and then going into certain specific topics. So it's going to be like a this is your most cursory information. This is if you've looked into it a little bit, and here are like the actual nitty-gritty details that I think are important to talk about. So, we're gonna get started. Alrighty, so if you've only watched like the bigger coverage of the REPZION, Maya, Lauren Phoenix situation, you would kind of have this understanding that REPZION is dealing with two former friends of his, Lauren and Phoenix, who for some reason have this like deep-seated hatred towards him, who are just out to bring him down, out for revenge, basically doing anything they can to turn people against him and expose him. And at some point, you know, according to the bigger story, at some point, they've now recruited this 16-year-old who is, I don't know, kind of become the face of the issue, become the face of their cause. So Lauren and Phoenix are, you know, apparently using this kid to further what they're trying to do. And more recently, Drama and Opinions put out 2 videos. I believe they have gone private now, but they were publicly out for a few weeks, talking about how REPZION accused Colton, this 16-year-old, of something pretty egregious, and we'll get to it, saying that he had accused him of something. Drama and Opinions said, I think that's a wrong accusation, and I'm going to defend Colton, put out a video about it. REPZION put out a video where he admitted that he gave her wrong information just to see how she would run with it. He also called her a low-tier YouTuber who's making videos above her pay grade, and I guess this is just because her channel's less than a year old. Like, I think that was really snotty to think that, you know, you're the only one, as somebody who has 700,000 subscribers, like, you're the one who can make credible videos. This person, they only have, she has like 23,000? She only has 23,000, you know? So he said that, and he like made fun of her accent in it, which is a no-go. Like I said, have your sense of humor. If you think it's funny, I'm not gonna tell you what's funny and what's not funny. But this is a very serious video, and he was making fun of her accent. So that's not great. But she basically took up for Colton because she said, I don't think he did what you're accusing him of. They went back and forth a little bit, and everything that I was able to find is pretty messy. It falls under he said, she said, but basically I'm just going to tell you what I was able to find with the multiple videos that I watched over the weekend and like all the notes that I took on the situation. So I'm not going to have every single detail in here because like I said, there's a lot, but I'm going to give you what I can. All right, KP1. Hey, I am happy you're in here. Hey, Anna. Okay, so you're just dropping in quickly before you tuck in as it's way past my bedtime. Can't wait to watch this tomorrow morning. Hope you have a good night's sleep. And yes, this will definitely be left up. So if you can't stay the whole time, don't worry to anybody. It's going to go back up after. So that's like broad stroke. If anyone has any opinions on the situation so far, definitely feel free to put them in the chat. You can let me know what your perception is. But we're going to pretty quickly get into the background that I was able to find. So, this whole thing essentially started, it's snowballed very heavily out of control to where we're at now is kind of like a faction of people who used to like REPZION or who maybe never liked him in the first place, kind of teaming up together against REPZION and his girlfriend Maya. And it's pretty brutal. Like, there's a lot of activity, especially going on Twitter, both sides are very passionate about what they're talking about and about their sides, and you would look at it and just say, how did any of this happen? Like, why is there a group so dedicated to taking them down, to like smearing their reputation, and why does REPZION care so much about this group of people? So this group was essentially started by two people named Lauren and Phoenix. Lauren and Phoenix used to be friends with Maya, who is REPZION's current girlfriend. At some point, Lauren and Phoenix are dating, by the way. So at some point, Maya and Lauren had a falling out. They had some sort of disagreement, some sort of clash, fight, whatever you want to call it, and they decided not to be friends anymore, and they each decided to start sharing the other person's personal information. So they were basically getting revenge on each other, trying to tear the other person down, and I don't know what the actual conflict was about, but it was bad enough to end their friendship. After this, Phoenix, Lauren's boyfriend, contacted REPZION and essentially told him that Maya had been cheating on him. And at first, REPZION was very hesitant in the chats. Like, we've seen the Facebook messages of this happening, both from the defector side as well as from REPZION. We've seen a few of the screenshots. And so Phoenix tells REPZION this. And then Oscar said, that's so petty. Yeah, like, I don't know what the fight was about, but you don't get anything from trying to like tear somebody down after, but that's just my opinion. So Phoenix contacts REPZION, says, Maya's been cheating on you, just wanted to let you know. And there is this whole kind of like side conversation because apparently both Maya and Daniel have sugar daddies in some capacity. I don't know the details. I don't care about the details, but this is why REPZION was hesitant to believe Phoenix, because he's like, oh, no, she didn't cheat on me. This was with her sugar daddy. Whatever. Eventually, Phoenix sends enough proof that REPZION believes him and essentially has a break and is like, wow, this really sucks. Like, this hurts really bad. I'm not taking this well. I think I'm going to contact my mom. I'm probably going to check myself into a facility because I am, trigger warning, I'm feeling like I am going to self-harm because of hearing this news. And so that's kind of the end of that conversation. Like, Phoenix essentially thinks, okay, great, I exposed Maya for being a bad person to REPZION. Great, like, mission accomplished. However, at some point after this, I don't know what happened. I don't know how they moved past it or what Maya said to REPZION, but he got over it. And he said, it's my opinion that Maya didn't cheat. You told me a little bit of true stuff, but the majority of what you said was not true, and she didn't cheat on me, and we are staying together. Which, like, I understand, like, I don't think the motives were good between Phoenix doing this, but I understand if you see something bad happening or something shady going on and you want to warn somebody about it, say, hey, like, this person's not the greatest. And it is kind of the general understanding from a lot of the things that I've seen that Maya did cheat on him. But of course I can't say whether she did or didn't. Like, I can't say what's the entire truth. But like, it's one thing to try and contact somebody, warn them, give them a heads up to avoid them getting hurt. But after you've said what you have said, that is all you can do. Like, you can't force somebody to break up with somebody else. You can't convince them of something that they don't want to believe. So telling them, giving them the truth is all you can do. And that's what Phoenix did, and REPZION ended up not believing. However, after this, Lauren decided that, okay, well, that didn't work, so let's go ahead and try another route. And a lot of you don't know about the situation, so the bomb I'm gonna drop. Lauren emailed Onision information that was private and like really no one else's business about Maya, as well as sent him a photo of REPZION's grandfather, who had just passed away. Like, he was dead in the photo. And Maya had shared this photo with Lauren without REPZION knowing. And so Lauren sent this to Onision. And like, this is true. This is a fact, because Onision, for whatever reason, I don't know what motive he had or didn't have in not releasing this publicly, but Onision contacted REPZION and and sent him the email, forwarded it to him, because he was like, hey, I don't want to touch this. Like, this isn't something I want to talk about. I don't know why, but that's great. So after seeing the proof that Lauren had contacted Onision, then REPZION made a video essentially calling them out without saying their names. Adultish said, that's so disrespectful. Yeah. May Monroe said, wow, the photo of his grandfather, that is horrible. Yeah. I mean, I think the whole email is going too far, but especially including that photo, it's just like, wow, this is not okay. And the thing is, Maya, REPZION's girlfriend, she's in her early 20s, so I can only assume that Lauren and Phoenix are roughly the same age. Like, you know better. This is not okay. Like, this is not an acceptable thing to do. Unicorn Blush said, wow, even Onision knows that's messy. Yeah. So, just, like, that's a really horrible thing to do. There's no excuse for that. REPZION made a video calling them out without saying their names, Lauren and Phoenix, and then from my understanding on Twitter as well as in personal text messages, there was some back and forth, and then REPZION made another video actually naming Lauren, saying, like, this is not okay, you're pushing it too far, you have a problem with Maya, and that's fine, but like, this is too much. Like, you can't be behaving this way. And so he made that video. Things continue to kind of go on Twitter, like behind the scenes, not necessarily publicly on YouTube. And then at some point we see Colton enter, who is a 16-year-old who claims he was bullied off of REPZION's Discord. Now, Colton, Lauren, and Phoenix have come together kind of as this team, and they have compiled a Google Drive full of inflammatory screenshots, documents, pictures, just information about Maya and REPZION. Like, basically proof against them to prove how bad of people they are. So they have this Google Drive, and they're using it to compile all this stuff. The back and forth continues to go on. I don't necessarily know the motive, but I think that the outcome is that they want to expose a lot of the upsetting things that Maya has said in the past, as well as the things that REPZION has said, because a lot of them are those jokes that I was referring to in the beginning of the stream. REPZION had this Discord where it was, the general culture was, it's okay to say offensive things here. It's okay to make these jokes. You can be as offensive as you want. And so a lot of them were coming from that. Some of them were coming from different places. And so they're basically just trying to prove that both Maya and REPZION are not great people. And so we've got this group of defectors. They're going to be like right here. And we've got REPZION and Maya who are over here. And they're going back and forth. At this point, it's brutal. It's messy. And I think I don't know if they're evenly matched or not, because this group is growing and growing and growing, but REPZION also has 700,000 subscribers. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about how things are playing out, like how people are being targeted, stuff like that. Okay. Caitlin Walton said, do I just not understand something, or is a photo of someone's dead relative not tea at all? So why did they want to use it against him? I don't get how that would work. I literally don't know. Like, I don't understand the motive behind doing that. I think that maybe it was so, first and foremost, that's cutting. Like, that's a super painful thing. Because can you imagine if Onision had been like, oh, hey, you want to see REPZION's dead grandpa? And, like, posted it? Like, that would be a huge blow to the gut. Like, if that were to have happened. Also, I think it could have been, hey, Maya sent this to us and REPZION doesn't know. So if you want to use this to, like, say that Maya's betraying Daniel, because that's a lot of REPZION, because that's a lot of what the conversation is about. So that's why I'm having trouble understanding what the goal is of this group, because REPZION's done some very bad things too. Like, don't mistake the fact that I'm calling this group out right now to say that he hasn't, because we're going to get into them. But this group is doing a lot of things that I don't quite understand the motive of. I don't know what the outcome is meant to be. I think it started out with wanting to break Maya and REPZION up. And when that didn't happen, it kind of snowballed into something else. But I truly wouldn't be able to define what it is for this group. So I don't know. All right. It looks like we've got some people just jumping in now. Not going to go over the whole overview of everything, like the whole timeline of events, but we are talking about REPZION and his girlfriend versus this group of people that are trying to either break them up, take them down, expose them. I don't know what to define it as. So I've gone over the whole kind of timeline in a very broad sense, but now we're going to get into some of the nittier grittier details. So one of the main talking points of this group is that Maya is using REPZION. And something to keep in mind about this, or not keep in mind, something to know, because a lot of people don't know, is that Maya has been watching REPZION since she was 12 and he was 18. And so this is kind of a tick on both of them, because for REPZION, that's kind of upsetting. Like, you know, he spends so much time talking about, and they didn't date. Like, they did not date when she was that age. But she watched him from the time she was 12 until essentially she had expressed, like, her interest in him, and he told her to F off and call him when she was 17. And so she did. And then they became friends, and then at 19 they started dating. So they definitely did not date when she was underage at all whatsoever. But I think it's odd to have that sort of relationship, to have known that this person was interested in you since they were so young. 12 and 18, like, that's a pretty good age gap. And even as you get older, like 19 and 25, it's a pretty decent age gap at this stage in your life, you know. 19 is kind of just like maybe just now striking out, getting on your own pretty recently. At 25, he has been living on his own, living his own life, doing his own thing for quite a long time. And so it's interesting to have this power dynamic in terms of, not only is this person your fan, not only are you like more financially stable than them and make a significant amount of money more than them, and also, like, they looked up to you, they were your fan, and they're a lot younger than you. So that's interesting. And then when you go towards Maya being that young and watching him for this long, people are saying, well, she's always, like, had her eye on him so she could take advantage of him. And so Sinead said, why would you ask someone to come back when they turn a certain age? I never understand that. Yeah, it's odd. they'll just said that was a good answer from him. Yeah, I mean, telling her to be like, not interested, thanks, bye. Like, that is good, but I think it's odd. Like, it's odd to me to understand that full dynamic when you look at, like, the big picture of it. So, another, like, piece of evidence that would support Maya using him is the fact that last year Maya was pregnant, and REPZION told her to terminate the pregnancy. And I think ultimately she was okay with it. I don't know that it would have been like her choice to do it, but ultimately she was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go through with it. And then after the abortion happened, she sent text messages to Lauren saying, in a flippant way and kind of like a joking way, this not Daniel's, aka REPZION. So the fetus that would have turned into a child was not REPZION's, according to Maya. And she said it in a very joking way and in a very flippant way. However, to this day, REPZION still claims that the baby would have been his. Like, the child was his, and he knows for a fact, and he was at the clinic with her, all this stuff, despite the fact that there are screenshots showing Maya very jokingly and lightheartedly saying that it wasn't his. And additionally, within like the course of like these people going back and forth at each other, whenever someone brings it up, Maya gets very upset and says like, how dare you use my abortion against me? And people are like, it's not about the fact that you got an abortion, it's about the fact that we're saying that you're using him because this child wasn't his, and you told us it wasn't his, but you're now claiming that it was. Caitlin said weird power dynamics. Yeah, it's like come back when you're legal. Ew. Yeah, it's just, it's upsetting. Like, we've talked about this before. I'm very much against, like, I'm very much pro boundaries and, like, drawing lines. And I, for one, think it is very odd to have such a close relationship with someone who is a fan that you would end up dating. Like, just knowing that they've been your fan for that long is odd to me, but to each their own. Chantel said, is the abortion thing something they've talked about? I'm not sure what you mean. In what context? Or like who? Sinead said, this is so confusing. Stopped looking into it as soon as it started because it's messy. Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot of stuff. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to do my best to explain it to you. But the details really, like, there are very few details that are, like, important. And so that's what I want to focus on. Cynthia said, I feel like his comment to come back was like a throwaway comment. Yeah, you could see it as that. Like I said, I don't know the intent. Like, Maya shared this on Discord, so I don't know. But, I mean, in any case, she has been a fan of his, and now they're dating. Meg said, I don't really follow the drama, but I do like REPZION, so this is kind of odd to hear. Disappointing, really. Yeah, that's the thing. I personally, when this whole thing started, like, I've been very vocally supportive of REPZION, especially when Onision took him to court and through all of that. But in looking more into this, it's literally a reminder for me of that you don't know creators. Like, even if you've watched them for years, you don't know them. And if you only see them on YouTube, you see like 0.01% of their life. and each part of the internet that they are on will show a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, but you cannot just blindly support somebody. And when this whole thing first happened, all I did was hear his side of it, and I was like, okay, that must have been what happened. Even though it's something that I talk about all the time of like, don't just blindly believe people, do your own research, know the whole story. And I'm guilty of doing it myself, you know? Oh, Chantel said, Rep Maya publicly. I wasn't sure if this is a leak or just something they've been open about. No, they've talked about it openly. But they have said, and REPZION has said, like, the child was mine. However, there are videos, like a video, like a screen recording going through text messages where someone who appears to be Maya has said that the child wasn't his. So, again, up to you to believe what's true, what's not. This is just each side that I have seen, you know? Oh, Cynthia says, like here in Quebec, a really famous song says in French, come see me when you turn 20, and everybody from early 2000s knows it. Maybe that's why I see it this way. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a common thing here from my understanding in America. I've never heard that phrase before, like, oh yeah, come back when you're 17 or call me when you're 17, other than in a creepy way. So I don't know, maybe it's a cultural thing. Cynthia said, but the age gap. Yeah. Olive Anon said, hey, it's Olive from Twitter. Just got this as a notification. I'll share this on Twitter. I wish I knew earlier. Oh, thanks so much for sharing it. I appreciate that. Oscar said, you think people would understand that by now? Yeah, you know, we gotta have the boundaries. We gotta understand that those relationships are odd and they're not okay. And, like, it's cool to interact with people who support you. Like, you should be doing that because they're supporting you. But at the same time, like, you got to keep that limit. Christina said creators only show what they want others to see. They do, like, legitimately. Everything is very heavily curated. Like, it's just a fact. And as much as people want to say, like, oh, this is raw, this is real, like, maybe that's an emotion that you're feeling in the moment, but that's not your everyday. That's not your whole entire day. That's like 5 minutes of your life or 30 minutes, an hour. Like, it's not everything. Oscar said gross men say that. Yeah, like that's like a creepy thing that you would hear. Like, call me when you're 17. So anyway, final example of where they're saying that Maya is using REPZION is just from screenshots of text where she's talking about just different things that REPZION has bought her, or she'll say, like, oh yeah, we're going shopping, I got my hair done, I got my nails done, I'm gonna tell him I want this, 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 and this. And I mean, that's kind of like scummy to like brag about all the things that your boyfriend is buying you. I think it's kind of weird, but I understand, as like, I don't know how old she was, 19, 20, when you're that age and somebody's spoiling you a lot, you're gonna want to brag about it. So this was, like, these were said privately. So I don't think this is necessarily an example of her using him, but I'm just like, it's not a great look. Like, that doesn't paint you in the best way. So there are a few things that she did that are like, this is sketchy, but maybe you do really love him. However, if the abortion story of her making jokes about how it wasn't his is true, then that's really rough. Like, that's a really bad thing to do to somebody, and that just kind of supports the theory of her being this bad person. But I don't know the, like, honest, deep down, detailed truth. I just know what I've seen. So I've seen stuff that supports it and stuff that doesn't. Cynthia said, I don't really like how Maya comes across. Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of it is. I mean, like I said, I don't know the end goal or the motive for this group. So if anyone is, like, involved in it on that end, feel free to, like, speak up and let me know. I would love to have more information, because it's really just confusing when you see this group of people going after two singular, like a couple, and you don't really know what the end goal is or what the motive is. But even if I knew the motive, there's a lot of stuff that's happened that's not okay, like no matter what. So that's the first main topic. Second is stalking behavior of Colton. Now, Colton is the 16-year-old who REPZION said has been recruited by Lauren and Phoenix to try and take him down. Basically, he said that this all started, like Colton's part in the exposing and trying to bring him down started because Colton was being creepy with him on Discord. He was calling him daddy. He invited him to his birthday party and ambushed him at the movie theater, stuck a camera in his face without permission, and just generally made him uncomfortable. Now, the last straw on this was, according to REPZION, Colton inviting him to his birthday party, and he essentially tried to have a conversation with Colton, say, hey, this behavior's not okay. It's especially not right because you are a minor and I'm an adult. So we have to, set up some boundaries, address the way that you're talking to me. And Colton wouldn't listen, so REPZION had to cut ties and get him out of the Discord server. REPZION says that Colton wanted this more personal relationship with him, and when REPZION cut it off, he went nuts. He got super angry, and he basically wanted to go out for revenge because he didn't get what he wanted. And the thing that REPZION has accused, trigger warning, Colton of doing is posting child pornography of Maya. So that's the big accusation against Colton. There are a few other things that Colton has done that aren't great, and that I wouldn't like if somebody said or did them to me, but that's the main accusation, and we're gonna get to that in the next point. But so this is what REPZION says basically caused Colton to post child pornography, caused Colton to post this child pornography of Maya. Like I said, we will get to it because that was a main thing that we were talking about yesterday. We will get to it. That's REPZION's side. Colton's side is that they were friends. He lives in Washington. They were friends. They talked. He did not call him daddy. He called him Papa Reps. And this could be different depending on where you're at, what country you're in, whatever. Daddy and Papa are very different, because Drama and Opinions, in her video, she said that she didn't think that, she thought that they were essentially the same thing, and she's like, that doesn't matter. Daddy and Papa, they're both the same thing. But in America, at least, culturally, there are different implications for daddy versus Papa. So Colton says, I called him Papa Reps. We were friends. We made plans to go to movies together. He showed pictures of them at the movies together. They did it twice, and according to him, he wanted to see a third movie with REPZION, and since it was around his birthday, he was like, oh yeah, what if I had my birthday party at this next movie? And he's like, it's a joke because I'm 16. Why would I want to have my whole birthday party at a movie theater? But apparently that crossed a line, and this is when REPZION kind of cut him off. They never saw the third movie together, and it didn't cut him off completely, but this is where REPZION kind of drew a line. And I don't know how they got in contact with each other, but at some point, Lauren and Phoenix and Colton all got into conversation with each other. And Lauren and Phoenix said that REPZION was accusing them of things that they didn't do, and that they were just looking out for him and trying to help him and help him realize how scummy, in their opinion, Maya is. And so Colton then tried to reach out to REPZION and say, hey, I think you're accusing these people of doing something that they didn't do. You should really reconsider this, hear their side. And REPZION got mad, got really pissed off at him, and this is what broke the camel's back, and Colton ended up getting bullied off of the Discord server. So that's like his side of the story, and he said that the reason he posted those pictures was because he had been told by Phoenix and Lauren that Maya wasn't a good person, that Maya was bad for REPZION, and he wanted to prove it. He wanted to make REPZION realize, like, come to this realization, oh, she doesn't love you, she's a bad person, XYZ, whatever. And this is when he posted nude photos of Maya. And after he did this, he posted multiple pictures. So he said, Maya was camming behind your back. These are still publicly available. This is proof to show you that she doesn't love you and whatever. REPZION said, hey, one of those is an underage image of Maya. You need to take it down. He didn't take it down. And then according to REPZION, they contacted the police, who contacted Colton's school and got Colton's parents' information. REPZION says a police officer went to Colton's house. Colton says that a police officer called his parents. They said, hey, one of these images is child pornography. You need to take it down. And he did. He then apologized, which is what they both agree on. They both agree that he apologized, but after thinking about it, after doing some more digging, Colton says, I don't think that that was an actual police officer. I don't think Maya was underage in this photo. I think I got swindled into making this apology, and I'm taking it back. Sinead said, I feel like REPZION dramatizes a lot of stuff in his videos. Yeah, I mean, but that's his like gig, you know, that's his personality. And so I think a lot of what he says and does is very dramatic and very intense, but that's how his videos always tend to be. And so I think it's just part of like how he presents information. Chantel said, what is with this evil villain plot to take down REPZION? Chantel said, yeah, I don't really see how anyone could side with this kid. Sinead said, I don't understand why he posted those photos, but as a 16-year-old, IDK. Oscar said, also, since when does doing sex work mean you don't love your spouse? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why, as a 16-year-old, Colton is the one posting these. I don't know if he was encouraged to do it by someone else or what, but essentially, the posting of them was to prove that Maya had lied. It wasn't to say like, oh, she did this so she doesn't love you. It was that Maya had lied about ever doing camming, and I don't know why somebody would know that or what, so I'm not going to pretend to, but it was like, oh, yeah, like, she did this and she lied to you about it. She didn't tell you that she did camming, and so here's proof of it. Now, the images. Some of the images, most of the images that were shared are publicly available. Maya did do camming. If you know her camming name, they are very easily discoverable. They are literally the first results that come up in Google from cam sites. From my understanding, there could be a way to trick the system. I don't know. From my understanding, you have to pay taxes on income that you earn from camming. Like, camming is a legitimate income stream. It's a legitimate income source. So you have to prove that you are 18 to join these sites, not only to prove that you are legal, but in order to get tax information so you can file your taxes on your income. So all of those pictures, one, are presumably of her when she is above 18, and two, are publicly available. So I don't understand the thought process of finding them and posting them on Twitter for everyone to see, because Maya did them under a different name. Like, she did them under an alias, and so I think it's kind of not cool to do that, to like go find them and put them on there for Twitter. Like, if your point is to prove that Maya lied, I don't know, send them in a DM. Like, why do you have to put it publicly on Twitter? I don't get it. But as for the one image, because they're saying most of them are over 18, one of them is CP. That one image, I have not seen it. Thank God. Most people, unless you saw the original post, have not seen it. So I don't know if it's a photo that was taken from one of her multiple streams. There are multiple streams and shows out there, but it looks like it was taken from a one-on-one Skype session. And so basically, Colton said that the person who gave him that photo told him it was part of a private package that Maya had sold. No, he said, Maya had sold it on Skype and streamed it through a campsite, but you could only get access if you paid for this private package. REPZION says, no, Maya was underage. She was in a relationship with this person. She did not know she was being recorded. This person took these photos of her when she was underage through Skype. So REPZION says, nope, these are from a personal private conversation. She was underage. Colton says, no, she was over 18. It was a private show. So, on this hand, first and foremost, let's debunk this. Maya was born in 97. Maya sent her medical paperwork for some reason to Colton, like a cover page on like a medical packet that showed her date, her birthday, the day she was in the medical facility, and her medical ID number. Maya sent that to Colton. She was born in 97. These photos are from, by all accounts, from my personal belief, I think that this photo was from 2016. That would mean that Maya was not a minor. However, that specific photo is typically is like the main talking point because it was taken privately from pretty much everyone's understanding, whether it was from a personal conversation or from a paid show or not, it was taken privately. And if somebody paid for that photo or paid for that stream, that does not give them rights to redistribute it. So, while I don't think it was child pornography, it is of my opinion that she was 16, and I'm not quite sure why they're trying to paint it as child pornography because all evidence that I've seen points to her being of age. It was still from a private conversation or a private stream that was behind a paywall. If you buy a DVD from a store, you can watch it as many times as you want, but you can't take videos of it, screen record it, and then send it to somebody else. Just because you buy it does not mean that you have copyright. You don't have rights to that image, to that video. You cannot share it legally. So no matter what, it's a private image and it shouldn't be shared. However, I think it's very, in my opinion of her not being underage when it was taken, it is very harmful and very sinister to accuse people of sharing CP when really it is a case of revenge porn, which is terrible, but also very different from CP. So let's see what you guys are saying. Chantel said, yeah, outing her sex work like this is unnecessary. Oscar said, totally. Sinead said, it seems like faults on both parts. REPZION for not setting boundaries and stuff, and the kid for the decisions he made in the situation he was in with Phoenix. Yeah. Chantel said, everything coming from the anti-rep people seems really malicious. Oscar said, oh, she's a year younger than me. Olive said, hey, I'm still watching this from the beginning. I think there might be a little misunderstandings, but I'm impressed by how much you know. You've done a great job. Thank you, Olive. And Olive, I know that I've seen you interact with certain people on Twitter that tells me that you might have a better understanding of what's going on from the side of the people who aren't fans of REPZION. So if you want to give me like more information. If you want to give me some insight on something that I potentially messed up, if you want to give me some clarity, because I'm confused on what the end goal is, and I would love to know it. So if you or anyone else wants to give it to me, wants to share that, I welcome it. Please do. Olive also said it's hard to see people talking about this on YouTube coming as close to the truth as possible, so thank you so much. I am doing my absolute best to share the truth as far as I've gotten it whittled down to. So I spent so much time looking into this, so I'm glad that it seems like I'm doing a decent job. Anyway, so like I said, I don't think it's CP, and this is something that I have a really big problem with. The fact that REPZION is claiming that it was. And part of my, like, a really big part of my doubt with it being CP, because if it's revenge porn, that is absolutely not okay. That's not cool. You guys know, don't do that. But it's very different from being CP. And Colton says the police called him. They did not come to his house. They called him and his dad to talk about it. REPZION says a police officer went to his house. And what they can both agree on is the fact that that's where it stopped. No one asked him for his hard drive. No one asked him where he got the image from. No one did any further digging into it. And I have a very hard time believing that a police officer would be made aware of the distribution and possession of CP without doing some further digging into it, without at least saying, I want to see your hard drive and make sure you destroyed the image. You know, like, that doesn't track for me, that a cop would know about it and not do anything. You know, I mean, and I know police officers aren't always the best people. You know, we got some problems with our justice system. But to me, it just, like, that's literally the bare minimum. If this police officer really did come out to Colton's house, why would he not at least take the time to make sure it was deleted or ask who it came from? You know, this is a very serious charge, in my opinion. Oscar said, yeah, scummy, but not the same thing at all. Yeah. And that's the hard thing, because I literally do not want to make it sound like I support sharing revenge porn. Like, 1000% not okay. But there is a distinction between the two things. And so that, like, I just want to make it clear, not okay. Do not spread revenge porn. Don't share people's nudes. Like, if you wouldn't want that done to you, don't do it to somebody else. But at the same time, very, very different than CP. Bink Stink said, unless I'm misunderstanding, it kind of sounds like both sides are grasping for straws to villainize the other side, but now no one knows what's going on. Honestly, that is what you could, like, whittle this down to. Like, I think there are valid criticisms on both sides. Like, I can see somewhat where each side is coming from, but there are both valid criticisms for both of these people. And there are things that each of them has done that is not okay, and this is not how we should conduct ourselves, and this is not good behavior to exhibit. It's just not, it's not the type of behavior that I would want to engage in. But I understand sometimes things get out of hand. Sometimes you lash out because you feel like you're being attacked. So I want to have compassion for both sides, but at the same time, this is going way too far. Like, this is too much. There needs to be an end to this somehow. Cat Dolphin What said, because I was giving my thoughts on Twitter, Maya decided to talk to me in Discord about it and still proved nothing. She then yelled at me on Twitter again for not agreeing with her. Yikes. Oscar said, yeah, they would have taken his computer. At least they should have if that was the case. Right. Like, I would like to think that if you're called about CP, you would definitely do more than just say, hey, can you take that off of Twitter? Like, hey, can you apologize for that? Like, there should have been something further, but maybe I just have a false idea of the seriousness of CP in the eyes of the cops because I grew up watching Law and Order SVU. Like, maybe I just have a false perception of it, but that's how I see it. Sinead said, the police officer would have called it happened to a YouTuber/Instagrammer before. E-Root said, unfortunately, among teenagers, this is way too common, and police honestly probably don't do as much as investigation as you'd hope. Yeah, ugh, like, I know that, like, some police officers don't want to do the most. They'll be like, I've been on the clock all day, I'm ready to go. But I like to think the best in people. I like to think that they would at least ask who he got it from. I don't know. Yeah, you guys, REPZION's 28. Magical Misfits said, this situation is what I was talking about way the other day, but then I couldn't find receipts anywhere of that live stream. Oh, gotcha. Chantel said, ooh, we stan Olivia Benson. Love her. Gotta love her. Like, how can you not? Magical Misfit said, when Phoenix and Rep were both on that live stream and Phoenix brought up the abortion situation, it was so cringe and nobody talked about it afterward. It was so weird. Yeah. I've seen clips. I didn't catch the live stream, but I've seen some clips from it, and the whole thing just sounded horrifying. Like, it was, I'm assuming that you're talking about the one from, Homeboys Got Receipts from Edwin, where he kind of acted as the mediator, but didn't really mediate much from what I saw. But gosh, like, I don't think either of them came out of that conversation looking better. It was just bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb at each other. South of Grace said, bowing out to go and record. You always seem to stream on nights I record, but I'll finish the stream later. All the best. Bye. Have fun recording, Grace. Okay, Stepha P said, I just don't think adult creators should call out underage people for crimes on the internet, regardless if the kid is talking about you. There's a reason police don't make minors' crimes public. Yeah, that is an awesome point. Like, I get the temptation to want to do that. To like want to call somebody out because you think they're coming after you unfairly. But when it's like, when it's a matter of, REPZION has this massive audience. He has way more influence, way more reach than Colton does. And so him sharing those images, like, it's not cool. It's not okay. But there are ways to handle this. And we talk about this all the time. There has to be a separation from internet and real life. Like, you have to remember at the end of the day, I'm a real life person. Some stuff isn't just internet drama. Like, if that truly was CP of Maya, you would not talk about it. You would not draw more attention to it. You would call the police. And the thing is, like, they said, Maya and REPZION said, so, you know, he talked to him and Colton apologized, but now he's taking it back, da-da-da-da-da. If I'm either of those people and I know an image of me underage is being circulated on the internet, I'm going to keep calling. Like, I'm going to keep calling the police station and say, hey, did you get that image taken down? Hey, did you figure out who shared it? Hey, did you make sure that they took it off their hard drive? Like, I am going to, whether it's me or my partner, I'm going to be on the case, you know? So I don't understand the thought of claiming that, but then saying you're okay with just getting an apology from Colton, if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, Magical Misfit said, but then didn't mediate at all. It was like advertised as a bloodstream, and I was there to watch Pastel Bell, but then they had those two on. Ugh. Gosh, that's, like, this is real life stuff. Like, this is too messy to be internet drama. So, anyway, I wanted to, I just had a few other, like, notes that I wanted to go over. So, I will say that Drama and Opinions made 2 videos about this. I think they're private now. Let me double check. Because I don't want to, like, give false information if I can prevent it. Yeah. So they're taken down. Her 2 videos have been taken down by her. REPZION took down his video responding to her. I think just because they both thought maybe I didn't present the best things, because Drama and Opinions really kind of took up for Colton and defended a lot of the things he had done. She said, like, no, I'm not saying he's perfect. Like, there are things that he did wrong. But she openly admitted to asking REPZION to send her the image that REPZION had said was CP, and he was like, I can't have that legally. Like, this is not my photo to have. I'm not, because she asked for it cropped or, like, blurred out. She didn't ask for, like, the full unedited image, but she was like, well, just send it to me so you can prove that she was underage. And she had some good points, but she did not come out looking the best in either of those, and REPZION's response was terrible. Like, it was very, very bad. But one of the things that was in her video that I will say I grabbed onto real quick is that she had a conversation with Maya about this video, and Maya told her, if you drop this situation and don't make a video about it, we'll say that it wasn't CP and we'll just call it revenge porn. And to me, like, if those screenshots are legitimate, that tells me everything I need to know. The fact that you would be willing to drop it and say, oh, okay, well, fine. Like, if you don't make this video, we'll stop saying that it was CP and we'll just say it was this instead. Like, that is really, that seems odd to me. Now, I think the reason that they claimed it was to make Lauren and Phoenix seem more, like, villainous, less credible. I think ultimately they were like, yeah, we're going to take Colton down with this, but we're also saying that Colton is associated with Lauren and Phoenix, and so if we say that they're distributing CP or he's doing it on their behalf, like, this is going to shut down any support that they would have, because people are going to take this really seriously. But in my opinion, it was a lie, and so it's now backfired. Because here's the thing, a lot of the things that they did, I don't agree with. I don't support emailing Onision. I don't support spending so much time trying to expose somebody, because in my opinion, the truth is going to come out this way or the other. Like, it's going to come out somehow, and I would prefer not to spend my time doing that. But if this is what's important to them, I don't know. I'm not going to dictate their lives. So they've done bad things. Like, you didn't need to try and squash it with this lie, because now I look at REPZION and I'm like, I don't believe half the things you say, because you would lie about something so serious. And at the end of the day, like, all of this drama, from my perception, is about a friendship that disintegrated and the desire for revenge that went way too far. And again, I don't know what the end goal is of this group. I know REPZION would like to have everyone believe that this group is completely not credible, lying about everything, just out to get him for no reason. But I think there are some valid things that they're criticizing him for. And at the end of the day, like, none of this is going to go away unless they both decide to stop. Unless they both decide, you know, because I don't think anyone's going to win. I don't think anyone is going to win the situation. And it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of negative energy. And it's not good to constantly be in that headspace and to spend so much time doing this. Like, one of them is going to have to bow out. Lauren shouldn't have sent that email to Onision. REPZION probably shouldn't have blasted her publicly about it. They shouldn't have gotten Colton involved. REPZION shouldn't have said that they distributed CP. Like, they all messed up. They all made mistakes. But at some point, you gotta say enough is enough, and I'm ready to move on. Is what I think. Is my opinion. Kona Bumble said, I don't like the fact Edwin always tries to mediate and can never keep control of everything, not even himself. Yeah, he also said his streams just exist to give the opportunity to belittle those willing to go on his stream to talk things out. Those live streams are so stressful. Like, I've only seen clips of them, and it's mostly just people yelling at each other, and I'm like, bro, like, this is not a constructive way to conduct a conversation. You have to say, like, if you are truly a mediator, you have to do your best not to let people, like, yell at each other, yell over each other, constantly attack. You have to say, okay, we're trying to do something constructive with this, so we're going to keep our emotions as in check as we can. We're not going to use language that attacks somebody else, like, all this stuff. And additionally, REPZION said, Phoenix, I know you'd love to move to America from Canada, but I know that you have a criminal history, so I'm going to do everything I can to stop you from moving here. Like, what? Supposedly, he doesn't even have a criminal history, and it's a different person who has the same name, who has this criminal history, but I'm like, wow. I get being mad, but man, we gotta simmer down. The only, like, the longest I've watched was with REPZION and Keemstar, when it was a lot of, I don't even know what the purpose of the stream was, but they were just yelling at each other for like 5 minutes, and I was like, how does anyone watch this? Like, I'm stressed out. Chantel said, honestly though, God love you for putting this all in a way that makes as much sense as it can make. My gosh, yeah, like, ugh, it's so much chaos. I'm telling you, Chantel, everybody, the amount of videos I watched on this, the amount of notes I have on this, like, there's always more and more and more and more, and it seems like there's these other channels that are, like, popping up, exposing more information, giving their side, doing all this stuff, and it's like so much to keep up with. So I wouldn't want anybody who wasn't, like, heavily invested in this to have to do all this digging, because there's so many different parts of it. Chantal said, when these influencers get into drama, the conclusion is usually that everyone is wrong. It literally is. That is what I say, like, 9 times out of 10. I'm like, well, you did this wrong, but you also did this wrong, so I don't think either of you are right. Like, you just gotta let it go at some point. Jordan said, I've been a victim of revenge and CP being posted of me, and I would never drop my case against someone doing that to me no matter what, so it is super suspicious that they would drop it to make it go away. Jordan, I am so sorry that you had both of those things happen to you, first and foremost, but I appreciate you sharing, like, that was your experience and that you wouldn't drop your case, because I don't know, to me, I feel like it's telling, it's suspicious that they said, like, oh, we'll drop it if you don't run with this story, and that they didn't follow up with the police department, knowing that the cop just went out there, talked to Colton's parents, and left. Like, according to, because there's this whole thing where Colton thinks, and this side thinks that it wasn't an actual police officer who contacted Colton's family. They think it was like somebody hired by REPZION to do, like, a VPN phone call over the internet. I don't know. That seems like going very far to me, but I mean, I don't know. Excuse me. Oscar said, God, Keemstar is so insufferable. Yeah. Gosh. he had like such a wide sphere of influence. He could do so many like cool things and good things, but he doesn't. Kona said Edwin keeps his live streams behind a paywall after they finish airing, and on top of that, he turned off playback during live streams because people call him out on him failing to keep control. So now you can't even go back and check what people said without paying for it. It's just $2, but still, it's telling about the behavior that goes on during live streams. Yeah. That's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I get it, because like, it's a way to bring in money, and like it's a way to incentivize people to watch while it's live. But if people can't turn on playback, like, come on, dude. Oscar said that man is trash. Yeah. He's done a lot of bad things. Oscar said surprised people just don't screen record it. I think some people do, but I mean, you can't like re-upload it just as a screen recording though. Like, that wouldn't fall under fair use if you just posted it. But that is essentially the situation, as broadly as I can put it, in an hour and 10 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, any additional details, any opinions that you want to share, go ahead and enter them now. I will do my best to answer any questions that you might have, but again, there's so much information out there, and again, I don't know how credible all of it is, but like I said, I'll do my best. Okay, this is good. So Olive Anon is watching the playback, and she just said, wait, I just reached the part where you mentioned about Colton, Lauren, and Phoenix are the ones who made the drive. That's false. I know the identity of the person behind that drive. Sorry, had to correct that. Okay, so cool. Great. I apologize for like saying that it was them. According to my understanding, it was them. That is what REPZION said, that they had created this, that Phoenix and Lauren had created it, and then other people were contributing to it. So, I'm glad that we know it wasn't them, which is good. I don't know who started it then, but I don't know. I don't know if that, I mean, it does make a difference. It makes a difference. Okay. So, gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. They didn't make the drive. REPZION said that they did make it. It has been shared in a lot of different videos that smaller creators have made, so it is still out there, but I guess at the end of the day, it is like still associated with them. So I don't know, take that how you may. I still think it's not cool to have that much of a, like, to have that much information publicly available on somebody. But in any case, you guys are talking about Lori Vallow. Yeah. Oscar, you know me so well. He said, I'm sure we'll do another stream or we'll do an update video, so let's hold off on that for now. Yeah. I was thinking about doing an update for Tuesday's video on that. Probably not going to do it as a live stream, but just do kind of like a deep dive and an update on everything. So I will most likely be getting that all put together for Tuesday. And if it ends up not being that, I will talk about it at some point. So, Olive is going through and finding things that are like potentially not true or have been, I don't know, misunderstood by me. So I am going to end the stream, but Olive, definitely feel free to leave a comment after. Like I said, you have more knowledge of their side than I do, so that would be great if you wanted to like leave a comment after sharing your side and making any corrections that you want. But I am gonna go ahead and end it because that's all I have to say on my understanding of it. So with all that being said, I am gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Thanks so much for watching and hanging out with me. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.